So thank you for your talk earlier. We're laughing about my clapping. Summarise your talk, please.
We are in way too many meetings. We spend most of our working life there, but we are still meeting broadly using the patterns and the ways of thinking and working and talking from the industrial era. And of course, we are also subject to this experience of being wired for tribes. So we spent 95% of our human history in tribes, and we still see meetings as like a tribal place where you want to look clever, be useful, and to maintain your status. So it's no wonder that things like advice around meetings, like, oh, just have an agenda, is nowhere sufficient to handle that. So instead, I help people explore what we need to do in organisations. So we need to make more space for deep work and reduce our overall meeting load, take all the stuff out that should be in asynchronous communication like Teams chat, and develop our practice in async. We need to add some more structure, so helpful light scaffolds that enable everybody to contribute equally and efficiently. And we need more candour. So we need people to be more honest and to say what they really think and feel as early on as possible, so we can talk about what matters in a meeting rather than tiptoeing around each other and around situations. And none of that is easy, but it is a movement, not a project. That's how we create this kind of social change.
I love that. One of my project managers was listening to you, and we looked at each other as you said that towards the end. What is the cost of not doing this? Because your talk and your movement has most people straight away. I don't like meetings. Nobody likes meetings. So we're all in at this point, right? But I guess there's lots of companies that can't wean themselves off it. But what's the cost of if we don't? Like, we hear your message, we're like, right, we want to take this on. But what's the cost of not doing it?
There's the sheer volume of time. So most people are spending 40 to 50% of their time in meetings. We know that 50% of that is not useful. So purely wasted time, plus the hangover from the meeting, where you struggle to kind of return to productive work and this atomized day. But in pure cost to the company, what I see are two big areas. One is missed milestones, products not launching on time, poor decisions, things that needed great human collaboration and didn't get it, and where the progress was not made. It was held back because people were stuck in a gridlock of not particularly helpful meetings. The other side is we know that meetings emotionally exhaust people. They make them more likely to quit, and that the cost on our employee well-being, attrition, on productivity, engagement, all those things. Like, I don't need to tell you that those things are important, and meetings have a dramatic impact, and yet they're in nobody's job title. They're a line item in no budget, and most organisations are doing very little about them because it feels too big and too difficult. But I do believe we'll see chief collaboration officers coming through the ranks. I think that'll be really important, because all the ways in which we think and work together come from the industrial era broadly, and they are a mismatch for the knowledge era, the collaboration era. We need a new playbook, and there are no simple ways to do that. Like, there's not a new thing that we should just do. There are some difficult conversations and decisions to be made, but we need to develop our maturity.
Which I find fascinating, because if we say in an example A company, people spend 50% of their time in meetings, and we're saying that 50% of that time may be wasted, it could mean 25% of the time is a cost. So whereas many companies will have the cost for how much are they spending on fruit, as an example, but they won't have that cost in their P&L.
They won't. And the difficult thing is, even if you were able to identify and save that time successfully, which I do recommend organisations think about it through that lens, it's quite difficult to put that money back in the bank unless you fire all those people, unless you round all that time up into one person's job and fire them. So it's not quite as simple as being able to do a time calculation, which is partly why organisations struggle. So, however, what I do see organisations doing is saying we are nowhere near innovative enough. We spend all our time in very mediocre meetings. We're not having enough new ideas. We're not generating new products. And that is an issue for us. And we're going to tackle that. We see organisations who say it's not psychologically safe here. We have meetings where a couple of people are talking in every single one. There's an in crowd and an out crowd. We want to change that in meetings. So sometimes it gets linked to a particular issue that the organisation has already identified as being mission critical to them. And there's no one entry point. And it's so vast and it's been untouched for so long. You've got to start somewhere.
And in 15 seconds, how would you describe the takeaway from your key message?
I want them to understand the scale of what is possible. I want them to feel excited and hopeful for meetings, that if you meet and collaborate well, that your organisation will be absolutely unstoppable, and that though that feels like an enormous and sometimes quite countercultural shift because we've been in that groove for so long, the great news is you don't need to start a massive project and involve stakeholders from every different area and so on and kind of clog it with the collabureaucracy that we already have. You can start a movement, and there's some super cool, very easy ways to do that. And you can start a movement from anywhere.
Thank you. I'm going to try and pronounce collabureaucracy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.